Hello, this is Manish Patel from the EII Capital Group. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the global markets where we cover everything from the US to Europe to Asia and so forth. Today is August 14th. We've been pretty much take off for a month in August due to all the volatility, and you could probably see why. However, a lot of people have been requesting we start posting our videos again. So we're kind of coming off vacation and we're going to start posting them again. Hopefully on a weekly basis, if not bi-weekly until the end of the month. Anyways, normal disclaimer, this is for education use only. All charts that you can see are for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, or FreeStockCharts.com. Here are my contact details there, and Patel at eiicapital.com. Our website is ichimokutrade.com, and our Twitter here, you can follow us on Twitter anytime. Okay, let's go to and start covering our global markets here. And we're going to start with Germany. You can see from the weekly time frame, we basically are broken to the bottom side of the cloud, so the sentiment is bearish. Major support level right now is 5,500, which we kind of bounced off that. And a major resistance level is going to be 6,500. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly where we land up. But right now, things are tilted towards the bearish side as far as the weekly is concerned. One thing we are going to do, if we can here, is also look at the monthly on some of these things here, and you could kind of see exactly what's going on long term. You can see that we basically come here and we're at a major support right now. But if you look at the monthly chart, believe it or not, we still are bullish in a lot of these world markets right now. So unless we get below to 5,000, the sentiment on the monthly time frame is still bullish right now, in the verge of getting into consolidation mode. But if it gets into 5,000 or below, then we basically can say that the sentiment is bearish. But as far as Germany is concerned right now, the sentiment on the weekly time frame is bearish, but we are at a major support level there. Let's go look at Paris. Remember, Paris has been the weakest of all of them. If you look at Paris, we've kind of broken down the support level there. And if you shrink this down some more, and you could see that we're pretty much getting down to 3,000 level was the key that we kind of bounced off to. However, probably about, I would say, about 29.31 is a major support level as far as Paris market is concerned. But we are basically bearish right now on the weekly time frame. On the monthly time frame, if you look at this, sentiment is bearish, and it looks like it's trying to get to 2,500, about 2,600 right now, which will pretty much be a triple bottom there. So it's going to be interesting to see, but sentiment for the Paris market is definitely, as far as monthly is concerned, bearish compared to the German market, which is still strong. If you look at the London market, just like German market, it's still very strong as far as the monthly is concerned. In fact, it's still bullish sentiment as far as the monthly is concerned, but it is going sideways now. If you look at the weekly, you could see that basically it's a little more stronger, believe it or not, than the German market right now, because you actually see where last week it closed positive compared to the German market, which closed negative. I still would sit there and keep on with the Paris trade of go long the DAX, the German market, and go short the Paris market. Percentage-wise, you still turn out a lot better that way than getting involved with the London market at all. London, as you could see, 5,500 is basically the major resistance level there, and 4,750 is going to be a support level. Okay, South Africa, if you look at South Africa, it's in the cloud, so basically consolidating as far as the weekly is concerned. Nothing really going on there. Israel, you could see that's breaking down. This is the ETF here, so we got to about 43.56, kind of bounced off that and holding there. But sentiment on the weekly is bearish, and if you look here on the monthly time frame, we're pretty much at a major support right now, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly where we hold at the end of this month. And you could see that for a lot of these different world markets right now, where we end up at the end of the month is going to be key, not where we're at right now. So it'll be interesting exactly to see exactly where August holds. Turkey, if you look at it, is starting a trend to the downside, and it is also at a major support right now. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens with Turkey too. And if you look at it on a monthly basis, you could see over here a little more to go, $40 for this ETF, but we're pretty much to the downside right now. compared to everything else. Russia, if you look at Russia, it's basically going down here on a weekly time frame. Sentiment is bearish now finally. And if you look at it, well, no, we're not getting much data for the monthly time frame, so we're just going to skip over that one. I think we've covered everything in Europe now. So let's go over and now start covering Asia. Let's start with the Chinese market. If you look at the Chinese market, pretty much just consolidating as far as the weekly is concerned. The sentiment is bearish. Major resistance level is going to be 2750. Major support level is going to be 2500. But we're pretty much just consolidating as far as the weekly is concerned. And you can see that better on a monthly time frame. We're just going sideways, 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 sideways here. This is actually a little more towards the bullish side if we keep on going sideways here. However, we've been going sideways for about getting close to 2 years now. So this thing's got to break one way or another as far as the monthly is concerned. But long-term picture-wise, Chinese market is really not doing anything at all. If you look at the Hong Kong market, you can see on the weekly time frame it's actually in the cloud, so we're consolidating. It's actually stronger than the Shanghai market, which is interesting, and you can see that it is above the cloud, so the sentiment is still bullish compared to on the monthly time frame compared to the Shanghai. Okay, Tokyo. Look at Tokyo market. We are now starting to move down. Look like it's going to try to get to this level here. The low of this low here, which is 82.27. Kind of poked ourselves out a little above the cloud and then started to go down. So it does look like we're going to go down, excuse me, as the Nikkei is concerned. Bombay Sensex market pretty much held here. However, it's now below the cloud in the weekly time frame, and believe it or not, in a week or two, momentum is actually gonna be to the bear side. So be very careful and go along the Indian market at all. I know that they've come out and said, the government's come out and said everything looks good, but still not. If you look at the monthly view, it is still very, very strong, as you can see. Major support level is going to be pretty much at, I would say, around 13,000 is that level. So another 3,000 more to go in a long-term picture, or 15,000 will be the first minor support level there. So another about 2,000 point drop. I think the Bombay market's going to be very good to start looking at to buy in moving forward. Sydney, if you look at Sydney, big long spike down, but then came back up, so we're basically consolidating as far as the monthly is concerned. Let's go to the weekly time frame. You can see that we're just doing nothing at all. We're just going sideways, but it did hold, go all the way down, went to a major support level, and they came all the way back. So that was a good recovery there as far as the Sydney market is concerned. Okay, let's come over. What we left off Korea. If you looked at Korea, Korea was strong, believe it or not, in Asia, but now you could see that we closed below the cloud here, so where the sentiment is now bearish. But if you look at a monthly time frame, you're still looking very, very good as far as bullish is concerned, and you could see that we're at a major support level right now. So if Korea could sit there and hold here, and actually by the end of the month try to get around to 2,000, this thing is going to be very, very strong, and pretty much could sit there and lead in Asia, believe it or not, the unknown silent country that actually is doing really good as far as the world economy is concerned, is Korea. So now let's go over and let's start covering the Americas. Let's go and start covering, let's start with the TSX. If you look at the TSX here on a weekly time frame, we're in the cloud, so we're consolidating. Let's go look at the monthly chart to look at that. And if you look at the monthly chart, we basically bounced off 12,000 as major support level, and this is still basically, believe it or not, very, very bullish. It's got to sit there at the end of the month and close above 13,000. If it does, it's still going to have the bullish momentum. If it doesn't, then it's got a possibility of getting down all the way to about 11,500. So you know, time's going to tell exactly what this thing's going to do. Mexican market, you could see basically on the monthly time frame, still very good. Came down to about 31,000, kind of held there, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens there at the end of the month too. But right now, it is bullish trending as far as the monthly is concerned. Brazil, a lot of people have been talking about it. You can see here, it's broken down, came all the way down to 50,000, and believe it or not, the sentiment is now weak. sentiment is still bullish, but the momentum is now starting to turn into the bearish side. So this thing, in about 1 or 2 more weeks, the momentum is going to shift completely to the bearish side. So definitely be very careful in trying to go long as far as the Brazilian market is concerned. And you can look here. We're at a major resistance level right now, which is right around 60,000. And if it holds there, then this thing can sit there and start going all the way down to 50,000 and take even further. Let's go to Colombia. If you look at Colombia, we're basically just sitting there consolidating right now. Major support level here, but we've basically been consolidating since middle of last year and pretty much going into this year. So really nothing at all as far as the Colombia is concerned. Okay, so now let's go over to the U.S. side. Remember, on the left-hand side is basically the weekly time frame. Right hand side is basically the daily time frame. You can see from the daily time frame we're basically going the trend, it is bearish trend going downwards. Major resistance level is going to be basically at 11,575. If you look at the weekly time frame, we basically have gotten to a major support here at 10,500. And what we're going to do is just unusual, but we're going to go to a monthly chart, and you could see here that we basically got all the way down to 10,446, bounced off that. And the key thing right now is that we sit there at the end of the month and close above 11,637. If we do, then we got a fighting chance to sit there, get back to 13,000 and go higher. If we don't, then we got a high chance of going all the way back to 10,446, and then we could sit there and consolidate right around that major support level, or we could sit there and just sit there and actually even tank further and get down to about 9,500 level. So it's going to be interesting to see. Remember, this is the monthly chart there. If you look at the Dow, remember the Nasdaq was the weakest of all of them, and you could see here on the monthly chart, Nasdaq hasn't even got to our green line at all, or not even close to the cloud at all. So if you look at the Nasdaq, this is very strong as far as bullish is concerned, even though we've been shorting that with compared to going long the Dow. If you look at that on a weekly time frame, you could see that basically got to the bottom of the cloud, just like the Dow did, held its cloud, and now it's got a major resistance level right now at 2203. If it breaks that, then this is going to break the bearish momentum and trend on the daily time frame going down. So the Dow is very strong. The Nasdaq is very strong right now, and I'm just going to flip this up to the Dow, because remember, we've been talking about going long the Dow and shorting the Nasdaq, and if you look now with the huge movement down, the Nasdaq has actually held its ground a lot better and seems like it's trying to lead the market. So be very careful with the pairs trading now. It may have sit there and inverted, but only time's going to tell us that. Let's go look at the ES. If you look at the ES here, same thing on the weekly time frame is basically the Dow, and also the daily time frames for Dow is concerned. So the resistance level is going to be 1238, and support is going to be basically at 1,000. And let's go look at the monthly chart here, and you can see the monthly chart here is basically 1100 was a major support, which it bounced off there. It's got to get above 1225 at the end of the month and close above there to even have a chance of sitting there and trying to get above 1400 moving into next year. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where this thing lands, but right now you could see that basically the short-term picture as far as dailies and weekly is concerned, everything looks very clean. But the thing is remember, when you're trying to see how this market's going to do in the next 2 to 5 years, go to a monthly chart, and you could see that we're still very bullish, and you could see that even from the ES that we're still very bullish, because look at this. This is a movement up. All this is a pullback, remember, and that's at a major support level now, which is hold. So, don't think everything's gloom and doom as far as the markets are concerned. Look at the long-term picture, and you could see that basically the long-term picture is still very bullish. But in the short term, if you're looking at short-term trades anywhere from 1 to 6 months, definitely have to sit there and look at the weekly and daily, and you could see that on the daily right now we're bearish trending as far as the weeklies are concerned for all the global markets. We're basically consolidating. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.